Now, it's a real pleasure to have you here on the Rundown, Bob.
Mhm.
Uh, those of you who don't know, Bob specializes in quantum as well as AI and modern chipsets here at Futurum. And we've had a recent announcement as well from IBM on the quantum space. Now, I'm not going to go out on a limb here to say, Bob, that you're probably one of the people most well suited to give us some perspective on quantum generally and IBM's moves in quantum in particular. So tell us a little bit more about the announcement and about the general market.
Sure. Well, just like security, data security, these other topics, acquisitions, quantum is heating up as well. Now, I will say, have to admit, quantum computing, there's an awful lot of hype around it. It's a very technical subject. It's a way of computing that's completely different from classical computing. We don't deal with just these little simple zeros and ones. We have to get much more complicated. But it is the way, in some sense, that nature computes, right? With quantum mechanics, physics. So it's a topic that sometimes excites people, but then they drop down a level and say, "Oh, this is way too complicated." But really, it's an evolving field. So IBM had two announcements that they made last week. They did it under the umbrella or the timing with the IEEE Quantum Week, which was held in Montreal. There's been a series of quantum conferences the last few weeks. There was that one. There's the Quantum World Congress, which was held in Washington, D.C. And there was also one last week in New York City, the HPC plus AI Wall Street Conference, which I spoke about quantum as well. So it's a little bit smaller community, but very, very active. So the first of two announcements concerns software development. Now, if you code, if you've ever coded, your tools are very important to you. Your programming language is very important to you. And you start writing some code, and then you run it, and then what comes next? You fix it, and then you run it again, and then you fix it, and you're combining different libraries and things like this. Well, the same is true with quantum here. IBM Qiskit, that's Qiskit, and it's pronounced different ways. I pronounce it Qiskit. Some people pronounce it Qiskit, whatever it is. It is a quantum software development kit that runs on Python. So if you're a Python programmer, you can start programming using quantum computers. But one of the things now that we're starting to move into the area where we're dealing with larger problems and the quantum computers themselves are getting larger, the tools have to improve. If you're only dealing with small problems, the brute force method works okay. But once the problems get bigger, you start to see, well, they really slow down. Right, they take a long time to do the very basic things. So IBM has been improving Qiskit quite a bit. They've been converting a lot of the underlying code to Rust. Rust is a very fast, efficient systems language. Again, for those of you who are into coding, it's a far more modern version of C, let's say, for low level. So they're improving the infrastructure, they're improving the algorithms. They said, hey, okay, now let's test ourselves compared to all the rest of the other ones that are out there. Now, of course, they've been testing all along, but they decided to tell the world. They are much faster than Ticket from Quantinuum. They are much faster than Amazon Bracket. They are much faster, much faster than Google Circ. In fact, Google Circ, a software development environment, couldn't even complete most of the 1,000 tests. So from the software development world, I think they threw down the gauntlet and said, look, we're really number one here, but I expect a response. Second announcement, and I suspect IBM won't like my saying this, is they're putting up almost like an app store for quantum applications. So where do quantum things run? Well, they run on quantum computers, which could be on-prem, but more likely they're in the cloud. So you would send an application over. You'd like to be able to use some third-party code, highly optimized code to make your application run much faster. This is very common, for example, classically. So IBM has introduced something called Qiskit runtime functions, and they've brought in a number of third parties. Some are very low-level applications, but some are also chemistry and things like this. Now, most of our IT readers won't be, our listeners won't be thinking so much about chemistry, but this is probably going to be the first area where quantum computing really comes through, that we start seeing some real applications. So I think we're starting to shift. We're starting to see this movement from lots of small applications, toy applications, to IBM and others with their tools getting much, much more serious.
Well, it's really interesting because what you're describing actually sounds an awful lot like what we see from some of the companies in the cloud and especially the AI space, where they're realizing that the quality of the software and the development kit really is the deciding factor, not only in terms of basic system performance, but also in terms, more importantly, of developer adoption. And certainly in the cloud space, the embrace of third-party libraries and open source software and third-party modules and functions has rapidly pushed forward the development of technologies like Kubernetes and, of course, Linux. And we are, again, it sounds to me like IBM is aiming to do the same thing for quantum. Is that what you're seeing here? Are IBM trying to become, I guess, the red hat of quantum?
Well, that certainly was a model from the very beginning. And another example maybe is CUDA from NVIDIA. That is the default development environment for doing these sorts of problems. You mentioned AI. Quantum and AI often come up in the same conversation. I like to joke, well, if you have both buzzwords in your proposal or in your company, you're twice as likely to get funding or that grant or something like that. Quantum for AI is a ways off. I think it's a research topic, but we're starting to see some interesting results. 2 weeks ago at Quantum World Congress, Microsoft had some really major announcements about the integration of high performance computing, quantum, and AI. Now, not all smushed together, but separated out, because when you're doing anything, and people who build IT infrastructure or cloud application knows that it's a workflow. Now, where's the data coming in? Where is it being processed? What happens then? It's a sequence of events. People are understanding much better now which parts are quantum, what are the tools, as we discussed, and also what are the high performance libraries that they need. They're teasing this apart. So Microsoft very nicely showed that there was a place in this particular application, which again was chemistry, where they did high performance computing. Then they generated some data using quantum computing. They then took that as classical data and fed it into machine learning, an AI application as well. And they were able to get much better results than they had seen classically. So it's going down a level or two. You're seeing this with IBM, you're seeing it with Microsoft, and this is really important. This is moving us away from this first stage of experimentation into really starting to get serious with quantum computing.
It is really an interesting topic, and I really appreciate you sharing your insight on this with the Rundown team. We'll definitely be following up with you in the future to track the sort of, as you said, under the radar, quiet improvements in quantum and the ways in which quantum is impacting cloud software as well as AI, as you mentioned. And I really appreciate you bringing that perspective to the Rundown audience.
Thank you. It's well, I love the topic. I wrote a book about it, so I'm pretty optimistic.
Excellent.